with our first story. So, unfortunately, yesterday, or perhaps the day before, it was revealed that Kyle Richards' daughter, Farah, her LA home was burglarized. And they basically stole her handbags, her jewelry in broad daylight. I mean, these thieves and robbers, they are getting bolder and bolder and bolder. We've seen that. Allegedly, Kyle's home was burglarized once or twice. Allegedly, Dorit Kemsley's house was robbed once or twice. Crystal Kong Minkoff's house was just robbed while she was in Japan. Wendy Osefo's house was robbed while she was, I believe, I want to say Jamaica or someplace like that, on holiday with her husband and her kids. Also, Anila's house from Married to Medicine was burglarized a couple years ago. Now, with all of that being said, my personal opinion is, do I believe all of these robberies are legit? Maybe, maybe not. But do I believe some of them are legit? I do. So let's dive into what happened to Farah. All right, so this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Kyle Richards' oldest daughter, Farah, or maybe it's Farrah. Farrah was targeted with a home robbery on Tuesday afternoon in broad daylight. According to a new report, the 35-year-old buying Beverly Hills Star's Los Angeles residence was broken into by thieves who reportedly got away with several expensive handbags and nearly all of her jewelry after forcing their way in and disabling her Wi-Fi. On April 23rd, sources told TMZ, and I do have the video from TMZ. We'll watch it after the article. That Farah's home was broken into around 1 p.m., and that Farah, who Kyle shares with her first husband, wasn't home at the time. They also noted that the robbers got away with a lot of Farah's belongings, although an exact estimate wasn't given. After reportedly forcing open a door to her residence, the thieves cut her Wi-Fi off, potentially to disable surveillance cameras. However, as TMZ noted, the break-in was likely still captured, at least in part, from different angles around her property. Following the incident, she and her Real Housewives of Beverly Hills mom were seen speaking to investigators. Okay, now, am I a little cynical? Am I a little suspect when it comes to all of these home robberies and insurance scams? Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in conspiracy over here with the candy canes. I personally didn't buy Kyle Richards' house robbery story. It just didn't make any sense. It happened with Teddy Mellencamp's husband, Eddie. His shady, surveillance safety company was the one who did it. He was and Dorit Kemsley, when she also allegedly got robbed, it was the same exact shady security system by Teddy Mellencamp's husband. Now, as we know, there's been questions around both of those robberies. We've seen Kyle wear jewelry and handbags that she had alleged had gotten stolen. Like Garcelle so flawlessly said in her confessional that she doesn't notice jewelry except for the fact that, Dorit, after her robbery, she still had hers. And her robbers were so nice and kind to just leave her iPhone, which is a very expensive phone that she could use to, I don't know, maybe call the police, delicately by the gate for her to come and get. So all of these things are very, very suspect. Now, does the apple fall far from the tree when it comes to, is Farah kind of following in her mother's footstep with these sort of sketchy robberies where it just so happens all of your jewelry is taken, all of your designer handbags, which I'm sure is all insured? Hey, I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying this is what happened to her. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this robbery is real, or do you think there's some questions going on that we've had about other robberies? Okay. While sources said that she is understandably shaken up over the incident, Kyle confirmed she is, quote, doing fine when confronted by a photographer after the unsettling ordeal. Yes, she's fine, she stated. Now, if Kyle, who claims to have every anxiety disorder in the world, and I'm not being shady or disrespectful about mental health, I'm just saying how Kyle is, in the world, she's like scared of everything. For her to be so flippant and to say her daughter is fine after her daughter's house was broken into reminds me of of PK, Paul Kemsley, Dorit's husband, who kind of laughs at Dorit when she says she has PTSD from being, robbed. He's like, I don't believe it. It sounds like a bunch of BS, because we're all like, yeah. He's like, sweetheart, we, in my mind, again, allegedly, he's like, we planned this for the insurance money. Like, you knew the robbery was fake. Why do you have PTSD from this fake robbery we planned? Because we got all these millions of dollars that I just so happened to pay off my gambling debts with, right? So to me, it's kind of like Kyle, who is like, acts like she's scared of like a mouse. She's always so anxious and just running around, and, she can't even talk. Is like, yeah, my daughter's fine. Girl, all of the slips are showing. As noted by TMZ, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is conducting an investigation into the robbery at Farrah's home, and no arrests have been made at this point. It is also unclear how many thieves actually broke into the home. As Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans may know, the robbery comes just years after Kyle and Mauricio Umansky's $8.2 million Encino home was targeted by thieves who reportedly made off with over $1 million worth of her belongings. Now, don't forget that this was Kyle then. Remember when it came out how she was wearing the alleged jewelry and handbags that were supposed to have been stolen, and then all of a sudden at the reunion she's like, oh yeah, so the robbers called me from jail to tell me that they had all of my stuff in their grandmother's basement, and if I wanted to get it, I could. And in my mind, I was like, wait a minute, I'm super confused. Number one, if the alleged robbers are in jail and all phone calls from jail are recorded, then wouldn't you just go down to the jail and be like, hey, the person you have in jail just admitted on this recorded line that they stole millions of dollars of my jewelry and handbags, and this is the address, so the police could then go and seize the stolen property. Doesn't that make the most sense? Does it make sense that the robbers who are in jail are randomly going to call you to try to extort you for stuff that they already stole from a police phone line that is recorded? And if they're in jail, I'm pretty sure they will have that person's identity, and they could probably figure out where their grandmother lives. And also, why would they have stored the stolen goods? Wouldn't the stuff be hot? Wouldn't they want to like sell it to get money? They just so happen to like bubble wrap and package Kyle's jewelry and handbags just in case one day they happen to get arrested, so that they could then call Kyle and say, hey, pay me money and I'll give you the stuff. It's at my grandma's house. Yeah. And it just so happens her daughter then gets, broken into in broad daylight. Sure. Sure. Ugh, it's just a hot mess. But let's watch the video from TMZ and then we can discuss more.
Hey Kyle. Are you okay? Is everyone safe? We heard there was a burglary. Is your daughter safe?
Yes, she's fine.
She's safe? Is everyone okay?
Yes, thank you.
Did they get the guy that did it?
Okay, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Good to see you.
Thanks.
I don't know. I will say this, regardless if this is a fake robbery or a real robbery, I am happy that everybody is safe, because, God forbid this is real, and, thank God she wasn't home and everybody is safe. but given the history of questionable break-ins and robberies and insurance scams, I don't know. I'm not just so quick to believe all this all of the time, but I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Do you think this robbery is real, or do you think it's a little fishy, the same way Kyle and Dorit's and maybe some other Bravo stars robberies have been a little fishy? So put it down below, and as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to our next story, which is all about Jax Taylor and Lisa's Vanderpump latest feud. So, first off, Jax is kind of walking back his claim that Vanderpump Rules is scripted. So, just to remind you guys, I do have the video of Jax being